everyone. Welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star. If you're new here or you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Today we're going to be talking about how to stay productive during the summer slowdown. You can use the slowdown to your advantage to actually be more productive and get more things done. If you're new to reselling and you haven't heard the term summer slowdown or you haven't experienced it yet, there is typically a part of the year in the middle of the summer where sales will slow down. It happens to everyone, regardless of the category you sell in or what platform you sell on. It happens to some folks a little bit harder than others, depending on what you sell. Some items are going to sell great all year round, no matter the season. But there is a period of time in the summer, kids are out of school, people are going on vacations, people are doing family things. They're just not shopping as much. They're spending their money on those summer activities that folks do. And so that slowdown tends to happen. This year, the economy is kind of shaky and folks are finding that groceries and bills and everything are just costing a lot more. So I think the summer slowdown is a little slower than even usual. So here's the thing. On the calendar, we have until September 22nd, technically, until the summer's over. But the mentality of folks is usually that when the back to school happens is when the summer is over. So that will be the end of August when you start to see the back to school stuff. That in mind, as we're getting through the summer, as we're getting towards Q4, remember that next we have the back to school, and then we have the autumn, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. So while you're sourcing or going through those death piles and getting things listed, make those types of items a priority. Keep them in the back of your head. Anything that can be associated with back to school, the season of autumn, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Look for Halloween costumes, decor, backpacks, things like that. So that's something you can keep in mind. But when things slow down, we all find that we have more time on our hands, because if we're selling less, you're taking less time to pull the items, prep the items, ship the items, pack them, and get them ready to go. So you can use that time wisely. Stay positive, stay focused, and know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Regardless of whether it's the golden year of reselling, which was 2020, or we're in 2024 where things are a little iffy, folks do have less discretionary funds to spend right now. And the economy, like I said, is not at an all-time high. But people will still shop, people still spend money, and people still go online to look for items. So you can assume that at the end of the summer, things will pick up just like they have in years past. We will be getting into that Q4 holiday shopping. And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people are not responsible with their money, and they will go into debt to have a nice holiday. So people will be shopping in Q4. We do have that to look forward to. But as we're getting through these slower months and this slower time, what can you do to keep yourself occupied, to keep yourself productive, to continue your business growth, and to already start prepping for Q4? I've got 5 things here we're going to go over real quick. Number 1, get organized. Because when Q4 hits, things do get a little bit busier. But even when you're not in a busy time of year, organization is the key to a successful business. If you're spending 1 hour every morning looking for one item, you're wasting time. If you can streamline that process and be organized and have a nice inventory system where you could sell 50 items and go to your area where you store them, whether it's a basement or a storage unit or a closet, and you can effectively pull all 50 of those out in 10 minutes, now we're talking. You always want to be streamlined. You always want to be organized. So this is the time to take to make sure that you are organized. Get your way you store your items streamlined. Make sure all your SKU lines on your listings reflect where that item is. Maybe you need to streamline your process of how you're pulling the items and getting them ready to ship. That goes with the organization as well. And I talk about this every year in Q4, but I'm going to mention it this year in the summer. Get yourself a shipping station set up. I don't care what it looks like. It can be a whole area of your office. It can be a whole room in your basement. It can be part of your warehouse. It can be a TV tray in your living room, but you need a specific area where you take your items each day and prep them for shipping. You need everything right at hand that you can pull easily, see where it is, so that you're not spending an hour looking for one item, 2 hours looking for a box, another hour trying to find your labels when your printer runs out, and then you can't find your envelopes or what you're going to ship it in. You just want to have a shelf maybe, or some kind of bin system where you can go in and just grab the poly bag or the envelope that you need. You get your shipping done. So get your organization done now before Q4 while we're slower, while it's the summertime. Get that inventory set up, a shipping station, even the area where you work. Like, take a look around at your desk. Yes, we don't really do a lot here but lists, and you're just looking at your computer all day. But if you have a lot of clutter around you, that can be distracting. So get rid of the clutter. Clean up your desk. Wipe it off. Dust it. Get rid of your knickknacks. Get rid of the clutter. And look above you. A lot of people like to put dry erase boards on the wall above where they work that they can look at for their daily goals, their daily tasks, weekly, monthly goals, their to-do lists. Some people have a bulletin board with pertinent information, like maybe you want the standard US measurement chart and size charts. Maybe you want a list of common terms, but you can pin things to a bulletin board right up here. So while you're listening, you can look up. You can put lists of keywords. I keep papers right here. I keep telling myself I'm going to print this up and laminate it and put it on the wall, but this is functional. It works. It goes in a drawer right here. But this has the shipping flat rate prices I use. It has my jewelry prices, little cheats about jeans, rise, and so forth. So just make sure you have those at hand, depending on what you list. You can have just organizational things. Look around you in your drawers. Do you have Post-it notes and pens at hand, if that's what you use? Do you have an area for your photograph station? That's what I call mine. It's a little rolling cart. It has my measuring tapes, my Awesome, my Tide pens, paper towels, the jewelry cleaner, things like that. And I can just roll the cart over to the table and take my pictures. So just kind of like take a step back and look around your work area, whether it's an office, a corner of your living room, a corner of your bedroom. Just take a step back and look at it like you're looking at it from somebody else's eyes, and how it can better be organized and streamlined to assist you in being more productive each day. It's not just with shipping. It's not just with organizing your supplies. You want everything you do in a day to be absolutely organized and streamlined, so when you move from one activity to the next, it's seamless. And when you need a piece of paper, you can find it. And when you need a pen, you can find it. Also, check your supplies. You might as well while you're getting organized. Whatever kind of supplies you use in your business, check it now in the summer. Do you need this size envelope, this size box? Do you need tape? Do you need Post-it notes? Do you need pens? You can take stock of that stuff and get it ordered now. And don't forget to use your shipping coupon, your free supplies coupon on eBay. You get one each quarter. So take stock of what you need, get some free supplies, go to the USPS website and get some free boxes if you ship things priority. Although a lot of us don't ship a lot of priority anymore, do we? That new ground advantage is really affordable to ship things ground and not priority. But yeah, check your supplies, make a list, get everything organized. Hey, list extra, right? If you've got extra time on your hands, list extra items, 5 extra a day. Or you can bank them, or you can schedule. For instance, we're scheduled out 3 weeks ahead on eBay. And each morning when I wake up, I do another batch of 10 to 15 listings and schedule them out. And I can list maybe another 10 and just let them sit there and list perfectly in a bank. You can make a bank so you can go on vacation, or you can have sick days, or you can just decide to play hooky one day and you'll have your listings done. But if you have that time on your hands, now's the time to get those extra listings up, or at least ready in a bank to go later. When things start to pick up again, it'll just be more beneficial for you. If you go into Q4 with more listings, you're going to sell more. Do an inventory audit. Speaking of that inventory system, you should also be doing inventory audits at least twice a year. Most people do it once a year. I recommend 3, 2 at the minimum. At the very minimum, you should be doing an inventory audit once a year. If you have a lot of listings, if you're very high volume like us, it probably is pertinent that you do it twice a year. And you don't have to hyper focus on it and make it the only activity you're doing for the rest of the summer. Like, don't start doing an inventory audit and work on that 8 hours a day, all day, every day, and put everything else to the wayside. You still want to do your listings, your shipping, your photographs, your sourcing, and all the things that go into this business. But just do a bin or two a day, or maybe more than that if you have time for it. But to just do a little bit each day. It's important to do those inventory audits because mistakes do happen. Things can fall through the cracks. You can find maybe you had a return on eBay and you never relisted the item, but it's back in your inventory system, however you store it. Things fall off of eBay. There's little gremlins that live in eBay that eat your listings. We have stuff disappear all the time. So you just want to check that. And you can find mistakes. You'll fix them, and that's great. In fact, when I do an inventory audit, I actually feel more satisfied when I can fix a mistake than if I go through the whole thing and I didn't find any mistakes. Because then I'm like, why did I do that? But it's important to do it regardless. So do an inventory audit. You can also explore other avenues of income. So this is the fourth tip. Look for other sources of income. Get other streams of income moving. Whether this means cross-posting and trying to sell on new platforms, maybe starting to sell on Instagram, maybe you start social media, maybe you start a YouTube channel, or you get on TikTok and make little reels. But there's lots of different ways you can get different streams of income coming in. You can explore being an affiliate marketer. There's all these ways, but I think the biggest one is that cross-posting, and a lot of people don't cross-post because they don't have time. Well, you do now, so just explore that. There's lots of other ways to make money. And the last thing is to tackle your death pile for several reasons. One, nobody wants a death pile. I mean, if you're sourcing the items, you should be listing them. You've spent the money on them. I've said this before on this channel, but it kind of equates to just throwing money on the floor. So if you're constantly thrifting, if you're constantly going out and sourcing and bringing items home and throwing them in the corner of your office or down in your garage or your basement, it's the equivalent of throwing money. Would you throw a $100 bill in the corner of your office and just walk around it for months on end? Would you put thousands of dollars down in your basement and ignore it and step over it to get around it and just not look at it? It's the same thing. Look at your inventory as if it is money. Look at your inventory, huge pile. If it's a mountain, that is a mountain of money that you're just ignoring. And none of us would take cold hard cash and just throw it in the corner or throw it over here and walk around it and walk over it and step around it all day. It's money. So you want to make sure you get those death piles listed. Do not confuse having spare inventory with having a death pile. I do recommend, depending on where you live, having extra inventory on hand at all times. So doing a little extra sourcing. It depends where you live. If you live in an area of America right now where it's hurricane season, you may want to have a month or two extra stuff laying around because there might come a time where you can't get out and source and you're going to need those items. If you live up north like us, when we get into the fall, September, October, Keith and I will start to source a little extra and squirrel it away like little bears getting ready to hibernate for the winter because it gets cold here. It snows, the roads get really bad, and sometimes you can't get out. And even with us, like we order a lot of our inventory, probably 95+% of what we list anymore is purchased wholesale or bulk and delivered right to our home. But if the roads are really bad and we have really bad ice or snowstorms here, they can't even deliver our items to us. So there may be times where we have days or weeks where we have to source from the inventory that we have stored up. So don't confuse that with a death pile. Purposely sourcing extra to have a backup, to have extra inventory on hand for just in case is very different from consistently and constantly oversourcing and thrifting when you should be listing and just piling and piling and piling up items and never listing them and continuing to buy more. That's a problem. You're probably a hoarder. You probably want to get that stuff listed. I would also say that if you're mindfully building an extra little pile of inventory, you always want to make sure first in, first out. Because something you buy today that's popular, that sells for a lot of money, you want to get it up first. You don't want it to sit there until it's not popular and the race to the bottom has happened and it's no longer valuable. So you always want to do the first in, first out. The other reason you may want to go through your death pile during the summer slowdown is because you wouldn't have to go out sourcing and you could save money. So if you're selling less, obviously you have less profits. So maybe instead of taking those profits and putting them back into more goods or more inventory, you just set it aside as a little nest egg, as a safety net to save your profits and save that money right now. Instead of reinvesting it, reinvest in your death pile. Instead of sourcing, source from yourself. That sounds good. Instead of sourcing out at the thrift store, source from yourself. If you have a huge death pile, go through it, get it listed, get it up. So real quick, the 5 things you should be doing when you have extra time on your hands. This goes for summer slowdown or any time when things are slow. You want to organize. This includes all areas of your business, from the desk you work at to your shipping station. List extra, bills at those banks. Get yourself prepared for a rainy day. Do an inventory audit. Explore other avenues of income, especially cross-posting, and tackle that death pile. Get it listed. Don't throw money into your basement and ignore it. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know down below, guys. Other than that, go be productive. Work on these 5 tasks. Hang in there, guys. We're almost to August, and then the back-to-school season will start. I'll see you next time. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.